I'm not really sorry. Hello, Snake Boy.
Hello. I was wondering, what was your favorite part or favorite episode of when you were the Seventh Doctor?
Say favourite parts, say favourite... Oh. Well, you see, it's very... I look at it from where I am, inside the television, looking out at you, picking your nose, watching it. It's very different perspective, really. Things stick in mind that maybe you wouldn't know or want to see. But there was one, the one that really jumps to mind is we were doing survival, and survival was what... It was set in a big sandpit in Britain. I call it the Desert of Dorset, because it's huge, mile by miles of sand. And it was like making a spaghetti western, because it was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which in Britain is, here it's common, but over there it's unusual. So it was very warm. We were working for the BBC. The BBC don't spend any money on, protecting you from gales or snow or or anything, or sun. Well, they're not used to sun anyway, so they don't know.
No, we're not.
Anyway, so we had all this sunshine. I mean, all these girls dressed up in fun fur, and they were, cat people, cheetah people, or whatever they were, and they had, fur makeup, ears. You see them wandering around here. They do it voluntarily. I mean, these girls were getting paid, but they weren't getting paid enough because it was terrible. The heat was unbearable. I was all right. I had the umbrella, put it up. Sophie and I stood under it, had some shade. And one of the girls completely lost it. She couldn't bear it, so she stripped off her fun fur, and she was last seen running over a sand dune. The only thing was, she forgot she was only wearing a thong. For some reason, that's the one that sticks in my mind. Everyone else, hands up. Oh, they're up there.
How long does it usually take to put your costume and makeup on for that cast?
About an hour and a half, really. Not very long. I was lucky because the costume was very easy to put on. It was just a few layers, and I put that on, and then the wig was the biggest bit, but that was just putting on a hat, really. Except, they had to glue it around the side, and the beard. I didn't really grow that beard, sorry. I had it stuck on. I know you thought I grew it, but I didn't. Anyway. And the bird poo, well, that was the nastiest bit. They have to get seagulls in the morning. I like that bit really very much. Sometimes they miss. Nose makeup, so anyway, but it didn't take that long, really. The nose was stuck on, that was slightly bent, and the ears, which you hardly ever saw, was stuck on. There was a funny little tooth, which made my bird whistling difficult. What else? That was it, not very long. Another TARDIS.
With the changes that Stephen Moffat has made to Doctor Who, how do you compare when you were in it versus Stephen Moffat's Doctor Who now? Do you like them? Hate them?
Well, it's quite interesting you should say that, really, ask that question, because I haven't seen a lot of Doctor Who since I left it. Because of the nature of the work I do, you have to, every time I've recorded anything, I've got a wall full of videos. That's how old I am, videos. Explain to the children, please. Anyway, this wall full of videos. And I've never watched any of them. I recorded things, I must watch it, and I never do watch. So I've given up recording, so I don't watch anything. I just watch it, put it on. If whatever's on, that's what I watch. Except for now Netflix, you can do it differently. But anyway, so I haven't seen a lot of it. But at the 50th anniversary, Peter Moffat took me aside and said to me something really rather wonderful, really. And I hadn't considered it. It hadn't gone through my mind at all. He said, I want to say that your doctor was the doctor who changed everything. He said, you moved the doctor away from being cartoon-like. It wasn't being negative, it was meaning like more like that, and turned it into something else, darker, more mysterious and dangerous. And he said that has inspired the new doctors, the new producers. It inspired him, and perhaps Russell T. As well, I'm not sure. But I had never thought of that. And I was actually I thought, wow, I'm so pleased. Because I always felt a bit sad about the fact that I was the guy who nearly killed it off. I was the last doctor, really, before. And so I always felt, oh, what a shame. But then for him to turn around and say that made me feel quite proud of the fact that I didn't kill it off.
planes. And how do you change a performance in audio as opposed to on screen?
Well, it doesn't take so long to make up. And, I'm 6 feet tall. And I've lost a lot of weight. Sets don't wobble. You do. The thing is, it's a very quick process. You get the script, and you kind of mark the script up, and then you come in and you read it, which is great. You don't have to learn the lines. That's lovely. I love that bit. And some of them, they all vary. Some of them I'm with, Sophie and then my new companion as well, and others I'm with other people, and others I'm by myself. And I just did one very recently, which I can't tell you about. It's very exciting. Anyway, aren't I cruel? Anyway, so doing it, you kind of respond to the script. It's what the script dictates, really. I don't really, because when you start reading it, you say, oh, this is a light one, this is funny, or this is dark and sad, or this is a complete mix of them all, or this is just, kind of documentary, whatever it is. And so it's just hard. And I'm an instinctive actor. I sometimes, as I said, I walk off the cliff not knowing what's going to happen. When I get a part, sometimes I'm not sure how it's going to come out. You put on all the costumes, you think, put your mind in the right place, you think what you're going to do, and bang, you launch yourself off. And, hopefully it'll work. Sometimes it doesn't, but anyhow, that's show business. Sorry, excuse me.
Sir, my wife and I have come to your table. We've gotten your autograph and we've gotten our picture taken with you, and we were so delicate with you. I did not know you were this animated, or we would have had more fun. Next time, it will be different. Thank you.
I was like, what?
Next time I'm going to wear armor then. Delicate. Well, I am old and decrepit, yes. What are you laughing at? That wasn't meant to be funny.
Okay, other than the Seventh Doctor, which one is your favorite?
Who's my favourite Doctor? Well, yes, I suppose, I think I defined this many years ago when I said, I think your first Doctor tends to be your favourite, the one that attracts you to it. You kind of stick with that. It's like your first love. You always remember that first love, and you kind of, even though you go and fall in love with many other people, there's something really special. And so that's the kind of my thought on the Doctor. And my first Doctor was Patrick Troughton, who I first saw, and I liked him. They attracted me to Doctor Who way back in 1960. So he was my favourite. I must, although going through there are, Tom is amazing, and John Pertwee was, they're all got individual qualities that are really quite marvellous, really, and it's amazing that they've found so many different actors who are so different, and yet at the same time, they are the Doctor. And there's a common thing going through, but each one is totally different from the others. I was also very attracted to the idea that, Doctor Who was an older person. It seemed to be quite important in our, pop culture that we should have. We've got superheroes. We've got the ones that wear their underpants outside their trousers. Use brawn and to defeat the enemy. So it was always really great to have a superhero who used his brain, and it also was quite old in a way. And I thought this was good for society, because especially in the Anglo-Saxon society, we tend not to treat old people with the respect that they get in other societies, like in Latin American societies and Mediterranean societies, where people are old people are treated really rather well. And so it would seem good to have an old person as a hero, so that children could watch that and relate to an older person. So when they brought the new one back, I was kind of slightly. Well, Christopher Eccleston, he was 40 odds. I was 40 odds when I did it. Although when I did the film, the Paul McGann, the Sylvester McCoy and Paul McGann film. When I did that one, I thought I was the right age then. I think I was about 50 then when I did that. I really felt comfortable as the Doctor. I thought, this is the age. So, Peter Capaldi is going to be one of the oldest actors to play the part. Although he looks much younger than, the William Hartnell, but that's because of, drugs and things like that. No, national health. I'm talking get younger. And then David came along, David Tennant. And that was interesting. Yeah, it was a bit young for my taste. Also, I got phone calls from Scotland. The newspapers in Scotland phoned me up and said, "Hello, Sylvester. Have you heard? David Tennant, he's not doing it as a Scotsman." What do you think of that? Oh dear, this is dangerous. What am I saying? I mean, I'm going to upset them, I say. But then what I thought was, well, the thing about David is he's a great actor and he can do Scottish. That's easy. He's a Scot. So therefore, he's stretching himself by doing English. That was, estuary English, we called it. It's kind of the English that Tony Blair kind of spoke. Posh people, but they drop their H's, if you know what I mean. That's called estuary English. Anyway, he was doing that, and I said, that's the reason why he did it. And also, he wants to prove to the world that Scots can do other accents. Because one of our greatest actors, Sean Connery, well, I mean, everything he does when he comes on, I mean, have you seen the film The Highlander?
Yes.
Well, I'm a Highlander. I should be speaking in a French accent. Because that's what the Highlander did. Oh, I'm a Highlander. I come from the mountains. Well, I'm a Highlander and I come from the mountains, but I don't speak with a French accent. I mean, that film was, as far as accents were concerned, it was having a nervous breakdown. But then Sean Connery comes on, and I said, "Oh yes, I am an Egyptian." And then, "I am a Highlander." Oh, he said, "I'm going mad." Then the next film he comes on, he's a Russian. "Oh yes, I am a Russian." And then they give him an Oscar. They give him an Oscar for playing an Irishman in The Untouchables. But he says, "I am an Irishman." Couldn't even do an Irish accent. I mean, it's easy for Scots to do Irish accents. We're related, we're similar, we're just across the water. So that was, I believe, David wanted to prove to the world that, he could do accents as well. I'm Scotsman, I can do English. So that was my excuse. They didn't believe a word I said, but that was my excuse. But then, they should give it to a 12-year-old. A giant 12-year-old. But I must admit, I was really, when I heard that, I thought, oh no. But when I saw Matt Smith, I thought he was brilliant. He's got this amazing face. I mean, you believe he's got a face that lived for 950 years, even though he's a young person. He did it very well, and he was great. And he's a lovely bloke. I didn't meet him until we did the 5-ish Doctors reboot. And we were down at the set, and he was just finishing up doing his last bits and pieces in his Doctor Who. And he reminds me of an Afghan hound puppy. No, he's such a lovable man. He comes bounding up to you, his tail's wagging. He puts his hands on your shoulders and he licks your face. He's just the loveliest bloke. I mean, I was thinking actually, what one should do is try and actually work out which dogs fit which doctor. That's very interesting. There's a thing for you to do. Work it out and let me know. But I think Afghan Hound is definitely the one for Matt. He's a lovely man. Are you putting your hand out? Are we over there? Yes, let's destroy these people's country.
Who was your favorite type of series?
Favourite, that is contradiction of terms, really. I mean, I must say, that when I worked with the Master, the actor, Anthony Ainley, who played the Master, I mean, he was the Master. Even when he was off stage, he was the Master. He frightened me off stage. He was great. I mean, he was great. But in a way, I suppose it's the Daleks. I didn't really feel I was a true doctor until I worked with the Daleks. And they did that in the Remembrance of the Daleks. What was fascinating it was a piece about race, really, and gender, not gender, different peoples, different colours and things like that. And we wanted to. That was part of the process of my tenure as a doctor. We wanted to do stuff that meant something, as well as just being entertainment. It had to have. We didn't want to preach, but we wanted to, stand up and look at what was happening in the world around about us. the one at Paradise Towers was all about housing and poverty housing and all that, and that was related to that. The Happiness Patrol was about Thatcher, you had to be happy and all that kind of stuff. So, but the Dalek one was, so there was a battle going on. Now, the pyrotechnic boys at the BBC loved to blow up things, and they tried to blow me up many a time. I nearly succeeded. But anyway, we were under the arches at Waterloo Station, which is the big station in London, and it was Easter Monday. It was the 60th anniversary of the Easter Rebellion in Ireland. And the IRA were active in London at that time, and therefore there was an expectation that something might happen. Demonstration, car bomb, or something horrible like that. Anyway, we're filming under the arch, under the railway station. The pyrotechnic boys let off this huge explosion as two Dalek factions are fighting each other in the arch. The noise just reverberates all over the place. Cars, alarms go off, windows get cracked, smoke everywhere. It's on the radio. The IRA have blown up Waterloo Station. Fire engines arrive, ambulances, car, everything. And I was standing here, and there was smoke coming out of that tunnel just on the right there. And down came the ambulance first, and then the fire engine behind it, lights, noise, and all that going on. And then suddenly, the ambulance kept screeching to a halt, and the ambulance driver's chin dropped to his chest, because out of the smoke came 3 Daleks. Behold, I can tell you, it's amazing. Man, I didn't hear that they had Irish accents. Exterminate.
How much leeway did they give you in creating your doctor, and how much was the writers, and did you have say in things like the stories and how you interacted with your companion?
Yes. Well, actually, I was given quite a lot of freedom. Partly because by then the producer who'd been producing it for a long time, he wanted to go off and do something else. He was still very involved in the actual working of it, the running of it, but he kind of moved back from that side of it. Also, his luck would have it, the new script editor, Andrew Cartmel, he was a Canadian, and he was kind of new to it, and he was young, and so we both had the same ideas about things. Again, that bringing in the underlying political thing and all that, we wanted to write the line that would bring down Thatcher. We never did, but that kind of was our ambition, and various other things like that. So he and I used to meet and talk about it. When I first did it, I had this distant memory of Patrick Troughton. I thought it was comedic, and my normal instinct was to do it in that kind of light way, slightly Chaplin-esque, Buster Keaton way. But then I suddenly realised, no, this part is amazing, and you can go and do so many things with it. And you can mine so many different emotions, and therefore I went to Andrew and said, I'd like to kind of, what do you think? Could we darken it a bit? Could we move it this way? And he said, yes, I agree with you, I want to do that. And he'd come with me with ideas. At the same time, at that time, my grandmother had reached 100. And in those days, that was, quite old then. Many hundred people now. Hundreds of them. Anyway. But then there weren't many. And I went to visit her on her birthday, naturally. And she was great. She was sharp as a button. But there was something about... She gave me the feeling of being 100, living that long, and all she wanted to do was just go to sleep. That was it. She'd lost children, she'd lost grandchildren, she'd seen sad things, friends had gone, all that kind of stuff. And I remember thinking, wow, my doctor's 950 years old or something like that. He must have had all that. And so I went to the writers and said, let's try and bring this in. Not heavy, but just let's make this part of the baggage that the doctor carries with him. Every now and again you get a glimpse of something sad or something angry or something. And so that's how, he and I managed to create, the Doctor Who number 7 in our own likeness, as it were, our own wish. So that's how, we did it. Yeah. Oh, I'll wait up there. I thought you had it easy. Where you are?
What was your favorite part about the 50th anniversary
the 50th part, the 50th anniversary, the favourite part was none really, because we weren't in it except for those under those sheets at the end. Yes, that was that we didn't really get to be in it.